I've never done what I'm about to do before. I mean, I know how, in theory. I've passed my exams and I should be able to do this. I can do this. I just will need towels for the blood and oh God, what am I about to do?
Our scene opens with the click of a latch as Parker leaves the apartment. Dakota sits, having slid down against the wall. Eryn sits, nursing a foot that doesn't hurt anymore. And Elle sits, finally wiping tears from their face, and for a moment, it is silent. Silent enough that you can hear the chorus of groans from the streets. And then you hear them grow louder as the group frenzies and begins chasing something. Chasing something away. And eventually that grows quiet too.
We have to do something. I don't know what. We can't stay here forever, though.
How far away from this lake thing? Lake? Is that what we're still going there, right? Like we got to get there. So
Lake Michigan. Yeah.
Claire first, right? Claire first, then Lake.
Well,
yes.
She's with her dad, I think. So they'll be at his high rise. It's right by the lake shore.
Right.
I'm kind of picturing Dakota like in the kitchen. It's like a little kitchenette with the door frame. And so I'm kind of looking into the living room where you are, Eryn, is kind of how I pictured it.
Okay.
So we're just kind of like having this conversation at a distance. At least that's where I feel like she ended kind of like outside the scene from you.
Yeah.
But she's just like yelling about Lake Michigan from the other room.
Okay, he gave us a clear run. We can't just let that go to waste. Can I see if there's an office chair, like a rolly chair in this building, so that maybe we can have another thing to push Eryn in?
Yeah, there probably is. Probably in the room where you found like the guitar and the snow globe and everything.
Okay, so we have this. I'm feeling a little lost right now. I think we all are. I just thought that was important to say out loud. Does anyone else have anything they want to say out loud?
There's nothing in this kitchen. There's nothing useful. There's nothing useful in this whole apartment. Who lived here? No one was prepared that lived here.
I was just going to ask if there was food, but never mind. You just answered my question.
She'll kind of kick the fridge open to show what's inside.
There's a jar of mayo. Are you that hungry?
No. No,
Okay,
nope,
that's fair.
not in the slightest.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? This is a perfect chance to say all that is in this fridge is booze.
God damn it.
Damn it. God
Thanks,
damn
Twitter.
it.
Thanks,
God
Twitter.
damn it.
Okay, well, obviously.
I'll take that bottle though.
Yeah, for sure. I'll like grab one and chuck it across.
I think oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Erin's kind of just like sees it and it like thunks on the floor next to her because her depth perception is not happy right now. So
Sorry, sweetie, that was not my best choice.
Well, while that happens, Dakota will try to catch Elle's eye as Erin's going for the liquor, and like her eyes slide to the injured leg and then to the liquor and then back to Elle, and she like purses her lips.
Elle kind of nods and glances over to see what Erin's doing before saying anything.
oh, Erin's picking up the bottle and about to drink it.
Great. While she's doing that, I'm gonna slide down onto the floor next to Dakota. How many times have you amputated a foot?
In practicum, we did a demo.
That's actually more than I was expecting.
I mean, it wasn't a live demo.
Still more than I was expecting, honestly. I guess our question is, do we want to run with an open wound or without an open wound?
Well,
How long can she survive like this?
Odds aren't great either way. If we keep an active infection, it's only going to get worse for her. She'll start getting feverish, delirious. If we try to amputate and suture, there's still risk of infection, but she could go into shock. It's kind of a rock and a hard place.
What about cauterization?
We would do that too.
Okay.
We have a flame here. It's probably the best place for it. We've got running water.
I mean, it's down to them then.
She'll look back over at Eryn and at the fridge, and she'll need a lot of this too.
Oh, we'll get her nice and toasty.
It'll help.
Since we can't give her pain meds.
No, because whoever lived here was some kind of acerbic saint. I don't know. There's nothing. There's no drugs. There's nothing helpful.
I think they were just a college kid.
What's wrong with them?
I think, you know, maybe they're just on their exploration of substances anew. Maybe it's liquor first and then weed and then the harder stuff. You know how they taught us it was a gateway drug?
Ugh.
And Elle just kind of rolls their eyes as they say
it. Dakota just exhales, exasperated, and then kind of just tunes into the fact that she's mad at a college student for not doing hard drugs and just starts laughing. Okay, all right. Eryn, she says in a louder voice.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good, actually. And then she like kind of tries to start getting up, and then
No, stay there, stay there.
Stay there.
Everybody's
Don't
like,
move.
no.
and then she sits back down.
Good.
But honestly, I don't even feel anything anymore. Like
That's good.
anywhere.
Good.
So
That's what we
I
want.
think we'll be fine. I think I could totally run on it and we'd be
No.
good to go.
Eryn, she says, getting to her feet, and will, I guess, offer a hand up for Elle
Take
as
it.
well. I picture the two of them kind of like like good cop, bad cop, like just standing looking.
Two moms trying to tell their kid, we need to amputate your leg.
Eryn, it's going to be a tough question, but I feel like I need to ask, do you want us to try to stop the spread of this wound?
I mean, I didn't get bit.
Infection's the same.
Oh,
Not the same in that you're going to turn, but you know,
spread.
the classic infection.
Right. So you're gonna cut it off?
It's your choice. Dakota brought up some good points that there's fire here and running water here and a place that we can get relatively clean. But
And
it'll still
alcohol.
be a risk. And alcohol, that's true. But it'll still be a risk.
Well, it's a risk if we do, it's a risk if we don't. And dying from infection sounds horrible. Can we rate can I get a robot foot?
If we make it out of this, I will make it my personal life's mission to take what money I can from my estranged husband and put it towards a robot foot for you.
Same. Any
For me, it's a
royalties-
win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
I'm
player
down.
royalties are yours. For a robot foot.
I mean, either way, I'm going to slow you guys down. So let's go with the chopping off of the leg thing. And then maybe I can get like a peg leg or something, like a pirate for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could use the hockey stick because it's kind of foot shaped.
Oh. That's an option. I don't know how much pressure we can be putting on it right away, but
None.
in the future, yes. And we'll just keep finding you wheelie chairs for now.
All right. And then she takes like a giant swig of the booze. Like college day, like whole way too much. And then at that point, there's like so much in her that she just starts passing back out, like slumping, and she's like, okay, but we're gonna have to find me an eye patch because now I get to be a pirate, and just like passes out.
Absolutely.
So I will say there is a small, there is no, dining table in here,
Of course not.
but there is a ping pong table. It's folded up currently and, up against the wall, but you do spot there's a ping pong table.
Wait, Dakota, I have a question. Is there a coffee table? Sorry.
Yeah, there's probably a small one.
Okay. Hear me out. Do we want to put her heart lower than the leg? So that I wrote a murder mystery once. It was shit, and I didn't really I didn't even send it to a publisher because it was so bad. But I did a lot of research for it. And if the leg is above her heart, there'll be less blood there, right? And there'll be less likely that she'll bleed out, right?
Given that Dakota has passed her nursing exam, she would know the correct answer to this question. I think Dakota would answer and say, using her medical knowledge and the player's knowledge of Google, yeah, I think that would work. Let's set it up to optimize the blood flow, and maybe we could even bring in the shower curtain so she can't see what we're doing. Just hang that up somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Unless she wants to see it. I've known Eryn only for 2 days, but I feel like she might want to see.
That checks out.
Yeah.
She was most excited about the peg leg than the loss of the limb. Okay. Hey, Eryn, she says, raising her voice again.
And then she kind of, what? I'm awake. I'm here. What?
Elle and I were discussing, did you want to see the surgery or do you want us to block your view?
Oh, I don't care. I've watched. No, it's fine. As she decides not to divulge any of that information.
Dakota goes into nurse mode, and her previously pristine white, smart, practical sneakers, which have cushions and, the latest whatever to keep you on your feet for 12 hours. They squeak across the floor as she just begins readying all of the materials. So she's looking for things that could be used for a tourniquet and things like needle and thread to sew up the veins, arteries that can spurt. And she's getting, everything that could be used to clean, towels and buckets of water. And she's just becoming a little like surgery station here in the living room.
I think Elle has no clue what they're doing, but I think she's just like ripping bed sheets into really long strips so that we have something. And then I think she's just trying to like follow around and be extra hands, not knowing entirely what's to be done.
I think the scene is like locked on Eryn, and everything is blurred around Eryn as we're like casually sometimes waking up, taking a drink, slumping back over, and you just see almost like time lapse of like a montage of all of these supplies being brought over, but everything is just super blurry as we're just watching Eryn fall like in and out of consciousness. More drinks are brought over too, just in case. And then it cuts to Elle and Dakota standing with everything collected, looking at Eryn now.
Dakota puts on a pair of dishwashing gloves that she found underneath the sink and hands a pair to Elle. They're bright purple.
Thanks.
All right. You ready, kid?
Okay. Elle's gonna put the gloves on and then immediately take them off and start like propping a pillow under Erin's head and like brushing her hair out of her face and moving the alcohol a little further away. I don't want you to get alcohol poisoning on top of this. And then just try to like scoot so her one leg is on the coffee table and making sure she's comfortable and kind of unlocking a maternal side that she didn't really know she had.
And for Dakota, it's the suppression of the maternal side. Like she has to kind of not see Eryn as she sees her daughter. Like you see kind of this professional persona come over her, and everything is an intentional movement. She has all her tools arranged. What do you think we would use for actual cutting? Like a knife from the kitchen?
A serrated kitchen knife?
Yeah.
There are some kitchen knives. That's, I think, the extent you have. You have scissors.
Is there a meat cleaver?
And since it's a college kid, they're cheap ass ones too.
Yeah.
They're not like, they're like Farberware from Target or something. They're not like,
No. Is there like a roll we can do to see like the quality of like, because my biggest hope is that we find one of those big square like chopping implements,
cleaver.
A meat cleaver. Yeah.
Meat cleaver. I'm gonna roll a d6. 1, 2, and 3. There's no meat cleaver. 4, 5, and 6. There is. That is a 5. So you find a meat cleaver. Perfect for amputations.
Perfect. Yeah, I imagine it was like in a gift set that maybe they got for Christmas and hasn't even been opened yet.
It still has the little like plastic protector on the blade itself, like has never been used.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a whole drawer full of like bottle openers and things of more college.
One drawer just has
Lifestyle.
bottle caps, and you're like,
Why?
why?
Dakota takes off the sealant, the protector on the meat cleaver, and says, "I'm gonna count to 3," and then immediately chops down before letting you brace yourself. And begins the amputation.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh boy. All right. So, I am going to have Eryn roll a resist pain roll. I'm going to give you advantage
Okay.
because of the booze.
Yes.
And Dakota,
37.
I assume you want to roll like first aid for this. Yeah, I will have you go ahead and roll that. Elle, is there anything? This first initial thing is kind of done without much warning here, so I think we'll wait for Elle. We'll see
That's
the
fair.
reaction of the other two, and then
Yeah, Elle was still like flittering around Eryn, trying to like make sure she was comfortable and wasn't
count
looking
to 3.
at Dakota at all.
I got 14.
14?
Yeah, with advantage, of course, because otherwise I would have gotten a 64, but I got a 14.
Nice.
good.
Okay. We're gonna do this from Elle's perspective. Elle is like securing blankets, moving the alcohol over, kind of like just this nervous fluttering, basically. And you hear Dakota, perfectly still, perfectly calm, professional demeanor, say in a very clear voice, "I'm going to count to 3." And then you just see the meat cleaver slam down at the leg. And there's a moment where, Elle, your eyes see the cleaver slam into the flesh, and your eyes dart over to Eryn, and Eryn doesn't seem to feel it.
Elle has like a yell stuck halfway in their throat, and it doesn't come out because they're in shock. One, that Dakota just did it, and then that Eryn's not reacting. And then they're like, I can't react if Eryn's not reacting. I can't react because she'll freak out if I freak out. And so she swallows and starts to shakily make her way over to her gloves and pick them up and put them on.
Amazing. Dakota, I am going to have you make 3 more first aid rolls.
3,
3%?
and then a 7.
Oh,
A
nice.
7%?
7.
Yeah, this lesson's bad. 83. So 83 on the last one.
83. So the
3 over.
that's 3 levels of failure.
But we had 2 that were 4 levels under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just from the medical part of it, there's a lot of blood at first, but you see Dakota working quickly, using the flame from the kitchen stove burner to heat up various sterilized pieces of metal and kind of sear the arteries closed with like the smell is sickly, and it does end up stopping the flow, but the stain of blood has already spread across the couch and rug. And so you're kind of like, we're all standing in like soppy carpet.
Ugh.
There's just like this array of tools that she had gathered, and the neatness of it at the beginning of the procedure gives way to just the frenetic need for utilization of these tools. And so some are then put on the table and put on the couch, and like kind of the precision of it from the beginning gives way to this chaotic attempt to help as quickly as possible, but she's not entirely sure what she's doing. You see her kind of like closing her eyes at some moments to just remember the textbook and like visualize the page. And yeah, just everything being used. And then occasionally you see her, she's not looking at Eryn at all. You do notice that, but occasionally you see her like lock eyes with Elle, and the expression is almost unreadable. Like she's looking at you, but she's also not looking at you. She's just looking at you maybe to affirm that she's still here in this living room. but then she goes back to the work. And you see her like have a little piece of thread in her mouth, and she like bites it off and then ties up a spurting artery. And just, I guess, apparently you have to put flaps of skin over the wound. And so she does that as kind of the final phase, like wrapping up a present in some macabre scenario. And only then does she sit back on the couch and just kind of look forward into the middle distance.
Elle is like, has bird hands of like, just like trying to help where she can, and then checking on Eryn. She is one of the frenetic things that causes things to be more chaotic than they needed to be. Very much trying to like keep a queasiness down, but trying to be useful in every direction while being useful in almost no direction. And almost more concerned with how Eryn's doing than how emotionally than like the leg itself.
And on that note, Eryn, make a composure roll for me.
Okay. 64. Well, okay, so here's how it happens in my brain, because I haven't had any amputations, but I've been in a somewhat similar situation in a way, medically. So I imagine Eryn would be like super like, yeah, I want to see what's going on, and then like starts seeing what's going on and is like, oh, no, and then just like gets that like reaction. Her face starts getting really freaking pale, and she just like passes out and like is just out for most of it. Luckily, unluckily, whatever way you want to look at it. But I feel like that's what she would do.
Perfect.
So 64 kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
She's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, once like Eryn has passed out, Dakota finally steps back and like slumps down onto the couch, covered in blood. The blood has dripped down onto your previously white shoes. It's covering the pants, covering the shirt, covering your arms, covering the gloves. There was a lot of blood, but you had a lot of supplies, and you were as prepared as you could have been. And there's no bleeding currently. We're patched up the best that we can be. And I think Elle and Dakota, you're looking at all of the blood all over this living room, soaked into the carpet. Your eyes move up to the table where you see Eryn's unconscious body. I'm going to ask you a strange question. What do you do with the leg?
Oh, right. I'm going to say something that is deeply fucked up. And I need you to know that this is not something I would consider saying in a different scenario. But this is our reality right now. We put the leg in the freezer and save it for the next time we're being chased so they have something to go after.
Dakota takes out a cigarette, and with it dangling kind of in between her lips as she talks, as she reaches up for the lighter to put it right in the center of her face, looks up at you and says, I had the same thought. And lights it.
Great. Elle is going to pick up the leg with steadier hands than she expects, slowly walk it to the fridge, open the freezer, put it inside, close it, look at the bloody handprint that she's left on the freezer, calmly take off her gloves, walk out of the room, walk to the bathroom, and vomit.
Dakota sits by Eryn's unconscious body and just smokes a cigarette down to the stub.
there's been, you're not sure how long you've been sitting there, but you've been sitting for a while. Elle's probably just sitting in the bathroom, honestly, at that
Absolutely.
point, and Dakota's just sitting on the couch, cigarette's gone by now, still kind of holding it between your fingers, just numbly. And there is a loud silence as the power to the building dies.
I think Elle, when the power goes out, finally pulls themselves up to their feet, and goes into. I kind of imagine that the bathroom was like through a bedroom. So going into the bedroom, starts looking through dressers and closets for clothes that might fit us. So we're not walking around covered in blood. I just start gathering a bunch of different kinds of clothes, and eventually bring them out and kind of set them, or like go to set them down somewhere and then realize the living room is full of carnage. So then kind of turning around and putting them back on the bed, and then going and just starting cleaning with like a singular focus of, this is the only thing I can do in this moment.
Hours pass. You're not sure how many hours are passing, to the point where the sun becomes kind of an orange glow through the window. It's probably going to be sunset soon. And you hear a little like a cough or movement from Eryn as Eryn is beginning to wake up. What is Erin's first thoughts, like opening their eyes?
I would imagine, who knows how long she's really been out of it, to be honest, because she's been drinking since like for a while now at this point. You know what I mean? Like ever since we found that booze, she's been like, I need
Most
some
of the day.
yeah, like, so she kind of like wakes up and for a moment forgets everything that just happened and is like, looks up, is kind of like looking around and like, what the and then like looks at her leg, I guess up at her leg, and everything kind of floods back at her at once. And then like is like thinking about how she can still feel her foot, but her foot's not there, but it should be there because it feels like it's there. And then just kind of like slumps back down and like looks around. And I imagine that after she orients herself, just kind of like looks over, sees like Elle cleaning, and is like, kind of like, what's the point of that? Like at this point, like what is going on over there? And then like looks for Dakota. Are you still here, Dakota? Like, are you like next to me?
I feel like a couple hours going by. Maybe I think she probably would try to take a nap. So yeah, you probably see her on like a less blood spattered part of the couch, maybe like curled up in the fetal position with like her head on the arm of the couch sleeping.
Okay. So then she looks over, sees Dakota sleeping, looks over and sees that the bottle is out of her reach. But doesn't want to yell for Elle because Dakota is sleeping, and then just kind of like surrenders to everything that just happened and falls back on the floor and just like chills there for a minute. But she does notice that there's no buzzing sound because she's one of those people that can hear electricity, and is very actually happy for once in her life that there is no buzzing sound, but then also knows that that means now there is no power.
I've texted my wife, Amy, again. I don't say anything back to what she said to me. I just write down Dakota, Eryn, Parker. And I think that's it. I think I just sent her everyone's names. And also add the link of the recording I took of Parker singing. And I just send that. And then I turn my phone off because we don't have power. But once Eryn's awake, I'll kind of go over and start like washing all the blood off her hand with a towel or off her face or wherever it kind of splattered. You're alive. Feeling okay?
As expected, when one's leg almost chopped. What did we? Where's the leg? Where's my?
It's in the freezer.
Okay.
Do you want to see it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but also no.
Sure.
Why is it in the freezer?
We had the thought that if we were being followed or chased, it would be something of a distraction. And I realized saying that to you, whose leg it is now, might be disrespectful.
And like Eryn like stops and she's like, she agrees with Elle, but she also like, they also don't really feel that way, and they're not sure if maybe there's something wrong with them now, or if that's like, you know, normal for the circumstance that we're in at the moment. And Eryn is just like, no, that awkwardly and strangely makes sense right now.
We can just leave it here. Honestly, it can just stay here if you don't ever want to see it, or you don't want to think about whatever the fuck is outside eating a part of your body.
Well, as long as it's not attached, honestly, I'm fine.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I'd rather, sacrifice one part of my limb for the cause, you know? It is what it is, I guess. Can I have the booze? Can I have that?
Yes,
okay?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just scooch it closer to her and like move out of the way of my like cleaning of her like cheeks so she can have a sip.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, it's been a few hours and it's a good thing, but it's also why you're asking for the booze. You are feeling some pain. There is some pain where the leg was amputated, so like kind of like feeling that pain coming back. That's, you're like, yeah, I'll take some more booze. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn and look at Dakota sleeping and feel really bad, but go like poke her in the shoulder. Hey.
Yeah.
So she's awake. I don't know if you need to do like post-operation checks. I don't know how that works. But I was also thinking about trying to bust into one of these apartments and find some food so we don't poison her.
I think she's kind of just coming to, but already like snapping to the plan. We have to get out of here generally. I mean, I don't know how they're attracted to us, but I feel like there's a lot of it all around us. So I don't want to be here if they can smell all of this.
I don't know how much we can travel with her yet, but like maybe we find another apartment down the line, like down the hallway.
Was this one unlocked? I can't remember. Did we just...
It was unlocked, yeah.
Maybe everyone's as careless.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check.
Okay. Be careful. This is a safe space, so...
Sure. I'll do my best. And I'll take the hockey stick. No, you know what? I'm just going to take a pair of scissors. Just in case I die, I'm not going to take the hockey stick. I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and stick them in one of my belt loops. And then I'll be right back. And I'll walk out the door.
Dakota, you, out of habit mostly, check your phone. And while you were asleep, you received a text. It's from Christopher. And it says, Claire is okay. We're heading to the church. Military is picking up survivors in a couple of days. Get there if you can. We're not waiting.
Typical. Do I know where the church is?
He sent an address as well.
Is it near the high rise by the lake, or is it in a different location?
It's like say that the high rise is like northeast, the church is like northwest.
Okay.
And I will say you notice it was sent a couple of hours ago.
She doesn't respond. At least not now. But she's glad to know that Claire's okay. The last line really gets to her, though. It's like, just, even in an apocalypse, he has to be a dick.
Elle.
Hello.
You exit this room, close the door behind you, and you find yourself in a decently long, empty, quiet hallway. It's darker in here. There are less windows to bring in any sunlight. It just has this really eerie, almost like gray glow to it from the darkness. What would you like to do?
I think first things first, I'm gonna the first door I come to, I'm gonna lean up against it and listen and see if I can hear anything.
Make a spot listen roll.
It's a 46 over 39.
Listening, there's a moment where you're pretty sure you hear something right on the other side of the door, but you're realizing your shoulder is brushing up against the door, and it maybe was just you, but you're a little freaked out about it now.
I think she's just gonna use one knuckle and knock like 3 times, just because if there's a human in there, then they'll know that's another person. But if it's a monster, maybe they won't think it's anything.
You hear no response.
All right. I'm going to slowly reach out. Everything, in Elle's mind, everything is moving in slow motion, just like terror at any sound. And I think they're just going to try and turn the doorknob as quietly as possible.
It can only be silent for so long. There's got to be that little click, but you do it slow enough and quietly enough that once you're holding that at like the turned angle, you're able to open up that door and I assume slowly unturn it back.
Yeah, it's every movement is precise and terrified. And like every sound sounds like a gunshot. And I think she's just gonna stick enough of her head in to see around.
Yeah, you peek in and this room looks a lot like the one that you had gone in, only because it doesn't look like it was left in a rush. It doesn't look like any supplies have been like quickly taken out of it. It just looks like someone left it to go to school. But it appears empty as well.
Hello? I'm not here to hurt you if you're in here. Please don't jump out at me. I really hate jump scares. okay, I'm taking this silence to mean I'm talking to an empty apartment building, and that's totally fine. And I'll kind of scooch in a little further to look around properly, and just like check for broken windows or like anything similar.
Yeah. You don't see any windows busted in or anything. Glancing around, this apartment is a little more furnished. There are there is like a small dining table. It looks like it fits like two. Just kind of up against the wall, you see almost a full living room set taking up most of this apartment. Like, obviously this living room set was purchased without really sizing the apartment much, and it's taking up most of the actual walking space, but it looks super cozy. You see a huge TV, like a gaming system. You see some unpacked bags of groceries like on the counter. The cabinets, a lot of them are just left open. This room, I mean, this seems way more stocked, while still having that like careless feel to it at the same time.
Okay. Elle's gonna acknowledge all of it and go, okay, all right. We can make it across a hallway. We can make it across a hallway. And really slowly return to the other apartment.
What was Eryn doing while Elle was out? Elle's probably out for like 10 minutes.
I imagine Eryn is just in her thoughts, like kind of the reality. I mean, besides the drinking, but kind of the reality of the fact that she is actually gonna have to like navigate with this situation, and like whether or like how she could be like the thought of taping her foot back on just so she has something to walk on like crosses her mind, and like she's like, I don't like what's gonna, is there a roller skate nearby? Like this is all like she's just ruminating in her thoughts and like just kind of lost in there, not really paying attention to what's actually happening around her.
And then those thoughts are interrupted by the door opening again as Elle returns.
So we've got another spot we can go. There's more food. It's not bloody. Is it safe to move Eryn yet?
I think so. I bandaged it. The bandaging will need to be changed, so I have extras here. I put them in my bag, and I think so. I mean, we have the chair. We can't stay here forever, so.
Well, I think we should move across the hall and eat and rest.
That
And
sounds
then
good.
Tomorrow we go for the lake?
I got a text from my ex-husband. They're going to a church nearby his place. They said the military is coming to pick up survivors. We can try to make it there.
Yeah, great. Great. We should move now. Just there's no one out there. We should just go as fast as we can. Right?
Absolutely. I think
Elle's gonna go and like collect all the clothes that they found, out of a weird sense of this is mine now because I found it, which is entirely ridiculous. And like throw them over her shoulder and pick up the snow globe and the guitar and take them over first. And then come back to help with Eryn and like alcohol and things like that.
I think Parker actually took the guitar.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
Great.
Yeah.
Then I just take the
there's
snow globe.
a high chance we'll see a guitar playing zombie out there somewhere.
Nice.
Nice. So there's this like hyping yourselves up to move. while this apartment is blood-stained and horrifying, you know it's safe. And so there's this moment of like, I don't want to leave it. Like, we're safe in here. Even something as simple as crossing the hallway to another apartment, you're like hyping yourselves up for this, and you get Eryn in the chair, and you open up the door, and you make your way across this hallway. The chair is loud. The chair echoes through the dark hallway. As you open up the door to the next apartment, you head in, close the door. You can lock it. It is tinted orange in here from the sun that is setting outside. But you've made it. And you suddenly find yourselves out of place with your bloody clothes, and kind of look at the clothes that Elle brought in. And whenever you do decide to get changed, I want you to describe to me what your new clothes look like based on what you think you found in these college dorms.
So Elle found like these kind of like shitty acid wash jeans that are like kind of back in style with young people, but they're much too big, so she like found a belt and stabbed a hole through it further up so that the belt would actually work for her, and has like rolled the jeans up to cuff them, but to the point that they're too thick. Like, they're not normal cuffs. The cuffs are just so long that they're thick now. And a just ugly orange button-down shirt that is like 4 sizes too big, and it's like the pattern on it is like kind of a dragon but kind of not. It's like a weird, it's just some weird like a weird thing that a young 20s person would pick up at a thrift store and be like, this is ugly, I love it. And that's what is there. And I think Elle did that a lot in her early 20s, so it's kind of like I would have picked this up. And it looks terrible. Their long curly brown hair is just like matted because they've been like running their hands through it all day with like grime and blood and just everything disgusting. So I think instead of having it partially down, they just pull it all up on top of their head in like a top knot. And then I forgot my arm's broken. So I think Elle forgot her arm was broken too. So as she's like getting dressed, she looks down and sees like the splint and like the bruising and the fact that it had been like tied up close to her chest, and she just kind of like blinks and tries to remember how it happened and how it wasn't years ago instead of a day or two, and kind of wraps it back up and walks into the living room.
Yeah, there's like this flash of hitting that rooftop, that moment of going to catch yourself and just hearing the little snap and kind of rolling, but you haven't had time to deal with it. You still haven't really had time to deal with it, and that's just replaying in your head.
I guess maybe what she found was like clothes. I love the idea of Dakota taking everything that this person wasn't using, like that they deemed was irrelevant in their own life. So the meat cleaver, and now the outfit that she got for Christmas, maybe, or whoever was in this apartment, what they got for Christmas. And it still has the tags on. And so it's like not their style. It was like a family member got this for them. It was at the back of the closet, and it fits her pretty nicely. So maybe like a ugly cardigan type thing from like a grandma, maybe. A little baggy, oversized. Not ugly enough to be cool, just ugly. And yeah, probably slacks. Like they went together. It was a set. Tags on the little like sticker that says what size it is, like right on the front of the leg. Yeah, she just basically looks like the mannequin from the store.
Yeah, so you both have like walked out from wherever you were changing, wherever, it doesn't matter. And you look at Eryn kind of like looking through the clothes. Eryn, do you ask for help, or are you just like visibly struggling a little bit?
Probably visibly struggling because she wouldn't want to like ask for help. So yeah. I'm just rummaging through, like, so she would grab like some sweatpants or any type of like stretchy pants. If they were too big, she would just like roll them up, and so she could like tie it off at the leg to hopefully help prevent, like, keep it at least somewhat clean. And then just whatever shirt she grabbed, she would probably like just tie it. Like, it's probably some like random band shirt that she has no idea. They have no idea who the band is, does not care, and probably something that they never listened to, but
We can help. I realize that this is a whole new set of skills you're going to have to learn. So, is it weird if we help you?
I mean, I feel like you cut my leg off, so at that point, you've seen the inside of my body. I feel like we're past that now.
Dakota, how do you do this? How do you do this?
Just quickly and intentionally, and she'll shove arms underneath your armpits and do a lift. And she's surprisingly strong, like having to move patients around and move people from beds to gurneys, and just kind of gives a little bit of aerial space for Eryn to, with Elle's help, get dressed.
And while she's doing that, Erin's gonna look at Dakota and be like, "Hey, for what it's worth, like, I'm glad that we ran into you. I appreciate you cutting my leg, and I hope that everything is okay with your family and stuff."
Thank you. I meant it when I said it'd be great if you could babysit Claire. And I feel like we're going to get out of this. I feel like it's going to be okay. I feel like the worst is over. And as she's saying it, it's almost like she's trying to believe it. And you're kind of unsure if she believes it or not, and she is too.
Elle kind of silently curses that Dakota said the worst is over. Because she's like, fuck. Like, from a writer perspective, like she's whispering to herself in the kitchen, from a writer perspective, that's just fucking stupid. That happens all the time. Characters are like, oh, the worst is past. And then shit gets terrible. Why would she say that?
Yeah, Dakota has no narrative guidance. And I think throughout the night, you'll hear her mutter those things to herself, like, everything's going to be okay. Just periodically.
Followed by Elle going, fuck.
God damn it. And she like doesn't want to take away that comfort of like, everything's going to be fine. But she's like, oh, I'm going to knock on wood and throw salt over my shoulder and do all the things.
Is there anything in particular that the three of you are doing for the evening?
Barricading the door and the windows.
I will also say you could probably find a few candles in here, maybe a flashlight or two to have some form of light, because once that sun goes down, it's gonna be dark. There's no electricity, there's no no street lights coming in from outside. Like, it is going to be dark. So if you want any light, you do have some candles and flashlights available.
We should probably keep light away from the windows and doors, right?
Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Anyone got cards?
There might be some around here. And I think Elle at this point is just kind of doing everything to make Eryn comfortable. I'm like, cards? You want cards? I'll find cards. Yeah, I'll look for cards.
I will get you some cards.
I will make cards.
I have made cards in my life before. I'll do it again.
Elle, make a search roll.
Okay. Frog.
Also, Eryn has been using booze to keep the pain kind of quelled a little bit. But maybe if we could find some, I don't know, pain pills or something.
Oh yeah, Dakota's doing a full-on what kind of a drug user was this person search.
Yeah, Dakota, also make a search roll.
I got a 37, which is under my 39.
Nice.
So I'll probably like find cards and pull them out and like set them in her lap and like try and scooch her so she's close enough to like play solitaire. And then I'm gonna go try and like make sandwiches of like peanut butter or something, just so that we're not actively alcohol poisoning Eryn.
Right. There's some like bottled water in here too to get some, actual hydration happening in there. We've consumed a lot of alcohol.
I love this zombie picnic. It's just like such a nice little picnic scene amidst a zombie apocalypse.
And I think that thought crosses Elle's head too, and is like, making a picnic during a fucking zombie apocalypse. Okay, that's fine. It's just like starting to talk to herself more and more, and also like having a weird maternal instinct to take care of things is very strange to have suddenly. So I think she's like looking to Dakota. I'm like, am I doing this right?
Cut off a leg, go have a picnic. That's really
On this, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, on the same token, Eryn is not used to being the person being taken care of because she's always taking care of other people's kids. So she's like slowly starting to get like, oh no, like I'm taking up too much space. Like I need to help. So she starts like, she's like still next to the clothes, I imagine, and she starts folding everything to like try to help.
The bloody clothes?
Yes. Like whatever clothes are near her, like just starts like folding stuff. She can't really move, so she's like, I gotta do something.
I think every time Elle looks to Dakota for that affirmation of like, am I doing it right? Dakota, who is not registering any kind of maternal shift or even really registering like the need to be maternal, like for her, it's just, everything is just, it is what it is. And so Elle is just kind of trying to connect with her on this, and Dakota just looks at her and is like, it's gonna be okay. Like every time.
And then that sends Elle back into the spiral of, God, you can't say that.
I got I guess that's what it was. A 64. Great. So that's a fail on my search.
I mean, you find like Tylenol, like just regular old, probably not the best pain meds, but still like something. But that's it. You find some, probably like, I'd say you could find some like Dayquil and NyQuil as well, but that's it. Maybe some Tums.
What is wrong with these kids?
Unbeknownst to us, we've landed at a religious college, and the kid with the booze was the rebel.
Yeah, Dakota will bring those to Eryn and say, do not mix these with the alcohol. This is for later. I don't want to deal with any other kinds of problems.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
And,
serious.
like, I believe you. And just like tuck them into her sweatpants pocket, because of course she picked the ones with pockets naturally.
Dakota doesn't believe her at all, but walks away anyway to barricade some windows.
And then as Dakota walks away, Eryn pops like 2 pills in because the pain's just getting Not waiting.
I adore this group so much.
Can I catch Eryn putting pills in her mouth after Dakota told her not to?
I think Eryn would be so concerned about hiding it from Dakota that they wouldn't think about hiding it from you. So absolutely, you would see that.
I think Elle almost says something and then is like, no, she's in pain. It doesn't matter. And so she's just gonna bring over some truly ugly sandwiches. They are not well made. I think one of them has chocolate chips on them because she couldn't find like jelly or anything. So she's like, it's gotta have more than peanut butter. It can't be just peanut butter. So it's got like chocolate chips and one of them's got like old marshmallow fluff. And she like brings them over and she's like, okay, well, if you're gonna do that, you need to eat something so you don't eat a hole into your stomach and then get septic. I think all of her like research from past projects is just coming back to haunt her.
And Erin's just like, okay. And I just starts eating the sandwich.
One of those moments where like none of you realized how hungry you were until you have this awful looking food surrounding you, but like that first bite you're like, oh man, when's the last time that I've eaten? And then you're just consumed. You probably make another set of sandwiches after this and just keep eating.
Yeah, that's all Elle is doing now. Like Elle is going from task to task and overdoing every task. So like half a loaf of bread is gone to sandwiches almost immediately. And like you need to eat something too, and like try just like overcorrecting, I think.
So you eat and the sun disappears. It gets dark. You have a little bit of light from candles. Let me ask, are you kind of using the entire apartment? Are you all sleeping like in the bedroom, closed off? Are you like what is the thought behind sleeping situations?
Near an exit, I think we would want to be available to a place where we could get out. Beyond that, Dakota's just fixated on like, how do we move to the next space if this one becomes untenable for us? And does a full sweep of the apartment. I mean, like, in the time that all these conversations were happening, she's like looking under beds and in closets and doing the thing where she like moves the clothes aside really fast and like looks behind them.
I think you could definitely collect a little bit more first aid type medical supplies, like bandages, maybe some gauze, a little more common, clean rags if you would like some of those as well. But there might also be like a baseball bat in here, which might be helpful. I think you have a broomstick handle or something, but there's probably a baseball bat in here. Other than that, just plenty of blankets, plenty of clothing, some notebooks, pens, pencils, more scissors if you want to stock up. Yeah, we love those scissors. But nothing that screams super useful, especially in like a medical standpoint. But you do feel that you've thoroughly searched this apartment.
Are there any empty bottles?
I think Eryn's created a few.
Right.
So, were you wanting to?
If there are a few empty bottles, I'm gonna start like having the liquor in each of the bottles, so we have one that's just like a couple that are not like halfway full of liquid and are closed, and then we have some that are halfway full of liquid and are Molotovs.
Cool. I think you would probably, if you wanted to search like through the trash, there are probably a couple more empty bottles there as well, and you have that drawer of bottle caps, so you can actually like close all of the bottles that you find. So yeah, you could stock up.
I'll take a trip back to the other apartment and find the bottle caps.
Yeah.
No, Erin's just. Did we find cards?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Erin's just playing with cards. Like, maybe solitaire, maybe whatever. She's just trying to kind of take her brain away from what's happening around.
I guess Dakota would give the notebook and pens that she finds to Elle. And she's like, I'm not sure if you need to write, but I found this.
Honestly, I have so many empty notebooks in my apartment. So more are welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job today.
Thanks. You too. It was nothing like the practicum.
I would be surprised if it was, honestly.
Thanks for all your help. Whenever I needed an item, you were there handing it to me, or maybe you had moved it across the room accidentally. But either way, you were trying, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm learning that in high-stress situations, I get frenetic. So that's something interesting to know about myself now. You're doing a fantastic job keeping your head, and I'm sorry that you have to do that. I will try to be more supportive.
No, you're doing everything right. Don't put any extra stress on yourself, really. We just have to get out of here. We just have to keep moving forward, and I think we're all doing a good job of that. Even if the pace is slow, we're still here.
Yeah. And I'll kind of look over at Eryn. You did a good job today too, not absolutely freaking out. I think I would have lost my absolute mind if someone had asked if they wanted me to cut off, or if I wanted them to cut off my leg.
If you ever need your resume updated, please just let me know. I'm happy to provide a reference for the composure you've shown today.
Yeah, just do what you gotta do. Also, that would kind of make me a hypocrite if I was like, no, don't cut off my leg. But at the same time, I didn't do it. I just laid there. So I don't need, and she gets very like awkward. Like they don't like to take, they don't know what to do with compliments. So they're very just like all of a sudden deflecting onto why everybody else is better and how Dakota deserves all the praise. And then just kind of like goes back to their card game.
And Dakota's just going on about the importance of a strong reference section and how Eryn can like call her Elle at any point. Just completely missing the mark.
Elle's immediately trying to do math about what kind of royalties they have left over from the play, and they're like, okay, I can get us to Alaska on this money. We'll go to Alaska. Fuck it. We'll go to Alaska. I'll talk to Amy. Maybe I won't talk to Amy, but I'm going to Alaska. Eryn is going to Alaska.
It's like this moment of everyone talking at once in their own little bubbles of slowly lowering their volumes until it kind of falls quiet again to the point where all you hear is like the like slight sound of like the sliding of a card against another card as cards are kind of just being flipped and placed down on the table.
Should we take watches again?
You and I, yes. Eryn should sleep.
Oh, yeah. I'll go first. I woke you up earlier anyway. I'll go first.
My eyes are not broken. I can look at stuff.
If you want to stay up, you're welcome to, but give your body rest if it needs it, okay? Like if you feel those lids closing, like don't fight it.
Okay.
But just wake one of us up first. I guess there's 2 steps there.
Okay. Just saying I can help.
Take first watch.
I think Elle is probably realizing just how exhausted they are.
Yeah, I think they were planning to be like, oh, I'll do first watch just because they've been like going and haven't stopped. But I think as Dakota is telling Eryn, no, like, well, like you can do it. Just like listen to your body. Elle's like, oh yeah, they're an adult person. They can do this. That's fine. And then they sit down for the first time and immediately are like, oh,
And at no point did Dakota give Elle any space for that. Like in Dakota's mind, everything is like, go, 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 take care of the patient. Like she almost saw you as like an orderly or a fellow nurse. And so doesn't even notice that you also need that care.
I think at this point, like pain is sort of coming back to their like register. I think all the rest of the day they've just been like blocking everything else out, but now like their arm is broken and they're like, oh right, this super sucks. So I think as soon as they sit down and kind of like lean back, they're just gonna close their eyes and have their arm across their chest and not even say any more words. It's like their brain is gonna keep going, but their eyes are going to be closed.
Elle goes to sleep on the couch. One of the couches. There's a couch and like a love seat in the living room itself, and then there's a bed in the bedroom. Probably a small chair or something as well. And Dakota's resting as well.
Yes. Yeah, I think on the love seat, maybe she'll curl up so she can keep an eye on Eryn. Like if she wakes up, she'll see where Eryn is. But yeah, she'll fall asleep.
Okay. And Eryn, for the first time since this all began at the hardware store where you were at, you find yourself alone in silence. You see the other two just passed out on these couches, exhausted. You know you've slept, but I mean, you still feel pretty exhausted too. Not enough to where you're gonna fall asleep or anything right now, but no amount of Tylenol or alcohol is going to be able to block out the pain that is just this little reminder of what you're going to have to deal with tomorrow. Is there anything in particular you do during your watch?
Oh, she starts crying full on. Like they haven't been alone since this whole thing started, really, because I've either like been in situations with other people or have been sleeping. So this is the first time that they've been able to like even think. And then at first, Eryn's just like concentrating on the cards, no big deal. The mask is still up. And then like the minute she hears like the breathing pattern change of the other two and knows that they're actually asleep, like she's trying to fight it so hard, but there's no one to like perform to anymore. So she just, the whole thing just breaks down, starts like quietly sobbing to herself as like her tears are like dripping onto the cards as she's trying to like continue the game of solitaire, and just like hold it together, Eryn, hold it together. Like other people, like you don't have a daughter, like you're not worried about that, like you don't have like this like person waiting for you, like they just have themselves. So they're trying to talk themselves down from like having the emotional breakdown and letting all of the emotions just kind of like flood as they just come flooding through, and there's no way to like contain it all.
And I think through the crying and like the changing heartbeat, the emotions, everything that you're feeling, you begin to feel your leg just throb as well, and that just makes it worse. And it's just you're so frustrated. You're frustrated that you're crying.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? But then the pain, everything is just going in circles. You're frustrated that you're crying, which makes it hurt more, which makes you cry more. And it's just this constant cycle. Crying so much that you don't know how you're still crying. But eventually, the crying stops.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
able to wipe the tears away. The pain is still there.
Fortunately. But Dakota's sleeping now, so I can take as many pain pills as I want.
What's the recommended dose on this thing? Oh, I can't see it. I guess I'll just
Don't know. Too dark. Not working. Take more. But is also mindful of the fact that she has been drinking a lot. So play around with what this new body feels like and is to try to distract themselves from the pain, but it's only working so much.
Mm-hmm. And after a few hours, you do find yourself getting very tired, wanting some rest. Who do you wake up?
Probably Dakota, because Eryn sees Dakota as a little bit more of like the practical one. Simply because Elle seems to be like emotional, and Eryn knows that Elle hasn't rested really because Elle's been a bit too busy taking care of everybody else like this entire time, pretty much. Like, so Eryn would like to let Elle rest more. So she'll go to wake up Dakota and say, hey, I'm about to, well, depending on where she probably throws like clothes from where she is, this nice folded, the clean ones though, not the dirty ones. And then just like wads it up in a ball and like chucks it over at Dakota to try to wake her up. Starts flinging cards at her.
Just gets hit with all these projectiles. And I guess that would make her wake up a little bit more forcefully than she would otherwise. So she just sits up and does that assessment moment and then sees everything's okay and looks over at you, Eryn. Oh, it's time.
Yeah, I'm getting tired and I don't really, I didn't want to like get out of the chair too much because.
No, fine. It's fine. No,
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I threw soft things.
Yeah, no, my brain did register that. I thought if you're under attack, a zombie probably isn't going to use a towel.
No.
Yeah. Rest, please.
Okay. Good luck. I saw nothing.
Good. That's what we want.
Eryn lets herself go to sleep.
Dakota will take watch. I think she'll make sure she's in a room away from open flame or light and peek out the curtain to watch the streets below to see if she can see any activity out there.
Okay. Looking at the streets, you see there's not a lot of light out on the streets themselves. In the distance, there's something on fire. You're not sure if it's a building or a few cars, but that gives a little bit of a glow in the distance where you see just the shuffling of bodies. You assume the frenzied. What little light is coming from like the moonlight, you're able to see shapes in the streets that are just barely moving, just kind of rocking. Again, you assume the frenzied, but they don't seem awake. They seem to be in just that strange dormant state that they have. But they're there.
She releases the curtain with her hand and goes back to the main room. Maybe after a few hours takes out her phone and texts her estranged husband back and just says, "Is Claire hurt at all?"
You send the message and it pops up, message not sent. You look up and there's no service.
Shit. She puts her phone away.
And there's just this moment of disconnect. This kind of almost like not quite helpless, but it was just a simple question. You just needed the answer to that question, and you can't even send the question. And there's just this frustration that just kind of bubbles up for a moment. Is there anything else you would like to do?
I think just spends the time in absolute stillness, like doesn't have that need to play solitaire or to have that frenetic energy of Elle, like just sits, like she's almost like offline. And I guess there's a level of performative, face that goes with her as well when she's alone. But instead of crying or letting out an emotion, she just kind of like powers down almost and sits with her arms on her legs, leaning forward in the couch where she's sitting, and just like looks forward and I guess is just thinking and kind of lost in her own thoughts until she wakes up. Elle, just like with a gentle shoulder shake, not the injured shoulder.
Hi.
Are you okay to take a watch?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Absolutely. I will watch.
Cell service is down and there's those creatures out in the streets, but they're not moving.
Okay, that's good to know, I guess.
It's quiet.
Everything okay in here? Eryn's okay?
She's okay. She's sleeping. She had a rough day.
Okay, well you should sleep more before we go anywhere.
Yeah, just wake me if you need anything. I'm here if you need anything.
Okay.
If you need to sleep more. Do you need to sleep more?
No,
How's your
no,
arm?
no. It's good. It's great. It's up here, nice and safe. Hi, hello.
You can see Dakota kind of going from like fellow person who keeps watch with me to, are you also a patient? Like you see like this like click of her mind. Are you sure?
Yes, yeah. Look, I can move my fingers. It's not that swollen. It's an
Elle, make a resist pain roll for me.
shit.
We're chopping it off now.
Do it. That's a 70.
Yeah, you're like, I can move my fingers, and there's just a little wince. Like, you can move your fingers, but it is pretty painful. There's just a slight wince and definitely like a noticeable like voice crack.
Yeah.
But
Super normal. Yeah.
All right. Well, Eryn has plenty of Tylenol left over because she's not taking those yet. So if you need any, please.
Right. Yes. she
Just
is
let
not
her
taking
know.
those yet. I will ask for pain meds from the amputation victim. Absolutely.
Well, just a
Thank
few.
you.
I mean, you also need relief. We need everyone to be in good spirits to make it through tomorrow.
What about you?
And
You
that's a huge bottle. Like there will be
Right.
plenty left for everyone.
Sure. Did you clean out the cuts that you got on your cheek from when you got tackled? Are you okay?
For the first time, she realizes she was injured earlier and touches her face, and it's just dried blood, and she hasn't cleaned off the wound at all. I'll take care of this tomorrow.
Are you sure? I can help you. I can do it while you're laying down if you
It's-
need.
No, it's nothing. It really, truly is nothing. But you're right. We all have to be in good spirits. I'll make myself a priority tomorrow. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Great. Sleep.
Yeah, that sounds nice. And she just kind of like, if she could, flops back, like just a complete surrender to sleep.
Elle, where Dakota was still, Elle is not. Elle is constantly bouncing back and forth between the window to see if anything's changed, if the fire's getting closer, if the infected or if the frenzied are moving, if there's another person, just like a constant check, and then going back into the other room and like trying to take stock and like organize all of our things that we have, and then thinking that they hear something outside and going back to the window and checking, and then realizing that we don't have long before daylight starts and coming back, and then thinking about the sun rising and starting to try and just like calm themselves. So beginning the Romeo and Juliet soliloquy of what light through yonder window breaks, and counting the syllables and making sure that they know where the stressed and unstressed syllables are, and just like doing the most work as quietly as they can.
Go ahead and make a spot listen roll for me. I'm gonna give you advantage only because you're looking out of the window multiple times.
Okay.
Almost like obsessively, like returning to the window. So.
Like you know, like when a dog's owner leaves and they're like, "Are they back yet?" No. Okay.
What about now?
That's a person. No,
No.
that's not my person.
No.
Ooh, 22.
Ooh. So you have basically like packed what you can. You want everybody to be as ready as possible. Things are packed. You found another backpack where you're able to kind of put some more stuff. You're not sure if there's room to carry it, but just in case, it's packed and it's ready. And you were
I think I make breakfast, which is just opening a can of garbanzo beans and draining them.
Beautiful. You return to the window just before sunrise. You look out and for a moment, it's that awful light where you can't quite make things out. You just see shapes right before the sun is going to come up. And there's this like delayed reaction as you're looking and you're seeing the infected on the streets, and you're seeing the infected that is scaling up one of the buildings across the street, and your eyes move over, and then you kind of, there's this hard cut back to looking at the infected that is scaling up the building, just climbing up. It looks a hell of a lot like the one that burst through the window before. This is across the street. You're watching it climb up, and there's this flash of heat, of fear that kind of like paralyzes your body for a moment as you're watching it. You see it climb up, you see it glance toward the horizon, and you see it bust into a window and climb in just before the sun creeps over, almost as if it didn't want to be touched by the sunlight.
The regular frenzied aren't in that way. It's
Correct.
Just the one that looked like. Okay, I think Elle, like as she starts over again, but soft but light through yonder window breaks. It is the east and Juliet's the sun. Is like writing down notes about the Night Stalker, and just like keeping a log now. Like instead of just watching, is actively trying to find information about these things.
And I think as the sun does come up, brightness spills into the room, and Dakota and Eryn, you can wake up whenever you'd like.
Yeah, Eryn would probably wake up to the bustling of opening of garbanzo beans in the kitchen, again, for a second, thinking she's back home and her mom is doing dishes at 6 o'clock in the morning when she passed out on the couch the night before, and realizing that is not her mother, that is Elle. And right, all this happened, correct. And is kind of like, just, Elle, do you need any help? Can I help in some way? Like, it is like kind of just like looking for something to do already, because thoughts are coming and she doesn't want them.
I think Elle goes to say no, and then looks at Eryn and kind of registers a similar need to do things, and kind of scrambles around for something and is like, yes, take this blanket, and she'll like pull one of the blankets out from under like the coffee table. Cut it into strips in case we need bandages. Yeah, can you do that?
Cool.
I'll bring you a can of garbanzo beans.
Yes, absolutely.
I just stick a fork in a can of garbanzo beans and bring it over.
Dakota had woken up a bit earlier to take care of herself so that wasn't in the way of the day's activities. So she went to the bathroom while this is going on, and she's washing her face, kind of just like putting antiseptic on it. You know, she comes out a little fresh-faced and sees the garbanzo beans and smiles and says, "Do you have an extra can?"
Yeah, this person, I don't think they ate meat. So there's a bunch of just like beans in here. There was some tofu in the fridge, but it looked really old, and honestly, the texture of tofu freaks me out sometimes. So here's this. And I'll offer a selection of garbanzo beans and kidney beans.
Breakfast of champions. And she'll dig in with the fork. Anything of note on watch?
Yes, actually. Something we should be aware of. Remember those big creepy fuckers with the one that we killed? The one that we killed? That used to be a person that we killed. That's not something I can think about right now.
Takes another bite of beans.
Right. Things that are important. They don't like the sun. The big scary ones, I don't think they like the sun.
She's anime shoveling beans in her mouth as you're saying all of this.
The little fuckers don't care, but the big one, like, busted in a window, and I think he has like a nest. I don't think he has a nest in there. I'm trying to humanize it, and I don't know why. They're scared of the sun. That's something we should keep in mind.
Well,
oh, and they can climb walls, but we knew that. But like, it's just real creepy to see them actually climb walls. That sucks. That really sucks.
do we know how to get around the ones that are out there then? Is there a way that we've ever been around them without them chasing us?
I feel like we've just been sneaky, and then something terrible happens, and then we get unsneaky.
Is it noise? She's addressing this to Eryn as well, as she's almost done with the can of beans.
Oh, they don't like noise. Or they like noise.
Noise
Not
happens
really.
to them, and they come after it.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if it's like because they're like, oh, what's this, or oh, what's this. So
Yeah. Have they seen us? Do you remember if they can see us? Right?
I don't. Maybe they must be able to.
I
We
don't
haven't. They've always had their
remember.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
So. I don't know.
Do you remember them smelling us ever?
Maybe we can catch one and then take out its eyeballs and then see if it can still see us. That's a bad plan. Ignore that.
Sounds dangerous.
If it were like a more scientific like situation, I'd be all for it.
Yeah, as it was coming out of my mouth, I realized that it's probably not smart, for us to do that now here.
It's not
with
that it's not smart,
us.
Dakota says, going into mom mode really quickly. It was a good idea.
Yeah. I have everything packed though, so whenever we're ready to go, Eryn, I put your cards in the outside pocket so you can get them if you ever need them. I hope
Thank you.
you take them out when we're running though.
No.
I have forgotten how to be a person almost immediately. This is wild.
Unless we can figure out a way to turn me into Gambit. No, I don't think I will be running with cards.
Gambit. And like Elle takes like a full 2 minutes to like go back through their mind palace and be like, I know Gambit. I know what Gambit is. I want to connect on this level with another person. Gambit, Gambit, Gambit. Oh! And like after 2 minutes is like, oh, that was a good joke. That was a good one.
Dakota has filed that away immediately under references she doesn't understand and moves on. Like after one beat, like she's so used to Claire saying things that she has no idea what they are. She does not worry about it at all.
You said something about a church, Dakota?
Yeah, northwest on the lakefront. He said that the military is coming to pick up survivors. That's where he and Claire were headed. It's probably our best bet out of here. GM, what was the timeline on that?
The text said in a couple of days.
Oh god. couldn't even be specific. I'm sorry. He's obviously his situation is fine, and so he doesn't need to really help me out beyond the bare minimum.
He sounds like an asshole. Don't apologize for him if he's an asshole.
Couple of days. It gives us some time, I guess, unless we get there and we miss it. I think we just have to move as fast as we can.
Okay. I really don't want to.
It's kind of nice here, actually, right? Beans for breakfast and bed.
Yeah. Momentarily not fearing for our lives.
Sounds like it's just a matter of time before the window shatters, though, right?
Yeah. Eryn, when you're ready, we'll go. But if you need more time, we'll wait.
And Eryn just like holds up the wad of strips from the blanket that she's been cutting at, and it's like, no, I'm good. Like, whatever. I just don't know what to do with these.
Oh, great. I'll shove them in like a side pouch of one of the backpacks so they're easily accessible.
Yeah. I also am still a little weird on the logistics of how we're moving with me with this, but I'm sure that's kind of like a learn as we go situation. And she looks over at Dakota and is like, I'm sure nursing in a zombie apocalypse is a new skill for you. And that's like, I imagine that's like,
Oh, nursing's a new
Right.
skill for me. I just passed my exam.
and you were able to you nice. You've got like a prodigy on our hands. Look at that. I would not have been able to amputate a leg off like fresh out of school of anything.
I mean, it definitely was not on our final test. It's not a typical skill, but they did teach us how to act under pressure. And
Did
on
you-
that note,
Take pictures to use when you go back to work. Like now Erin's full and like life will be normal at some point. And you know, if you need me to vouch for you that you can amputate limbs to get you a better pay raise, like you let me know.
as she's changing your dressing, the bandaging, kind of like while we're talking so that you're not really paying attention to that part,
Yeah. good
she
idea.
says with a smile, "Are you offering to be my reference?"
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
of course.
She finishes changing the dressing, and I think after that conversation about logistics, the last thing for her, at least in this place, is to look for some WD-40 to maybe like get the chair to stop being so squeaky. Because I feel like that's our biggest problem with the chair. Chair can actually go pretty fast.
Yeah. I raced rolly chairs in my day as a kid. Yeah, I'm also gonna look for a cucumber.
Just WD-40 and a cucumber is all we
There's-
need.
There's a method to my madness, I swear.
It's an awkward combination, but I'll go with it.
Look, sometimes you need lube.
You know what? I was Googling what can I use in place of WD-40? Like if there was none, I was looking for common items, and honestly, lube is on here of like, you could use that. And I'm like, is there lube in this apartment?
And a cucumber.
And a
Important combo.
Technically, you can use a cucumber to do the same thing, which was why I was looking for a cucumber if there wasn't any
That's fair.
WD-40.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a d6. 1, 2, and 3, there's a cucumber. 4, 5, and 6, there is lube.
This is the best roll ever.
It's a 4. So,
Lube!
so yeah, you do not find any WD-40, but you do remember seeing some lube in the bedroom. So lube up that chair.
Dakota gets to work lubing up the chair. Fresh after a breakfast of garbanzo beans. Hashtag apocalypse.
Hashtag apocalypse. Yeah, so and you even like give the chair a few like test rolls, and it's pretty quiet. The only sound is still gonna be the wheels actually like hitting whatever surface. Like, it's quiet on the carpet, but you would imagine it's not going to be so quiet on pavement or hardwood or anything like that.
So what's the plan? There's no electricity. There's stairs. Right? Did we went upstairs or we ran in?
I think we're on the ground floor.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Then she says, what's the plan? We're heading out to the streets, trying to get by without them hearing us.
Maybe alleyways and building hopping again?
We could stick to the subway markers. It's right off the red line, so we can just kind of use those as wayposts if we're lost.
I like that plan.
As far as shortcuts, though, I guess I rely on my phone more than I thought I did.
I am going to say this with a full disclaimer of I'm not telling you these are good or bad ideas. I'm just giving you options for you to kind of have in mind as you're planning. There are still cars on the street. You do not know if there are keys in them. You do not know how many of them will run. A lot of them are crashed into other vehicles. You don't know how many of them you'll be able to, if you get in a car, you don't know if you'll be able to make it down the street with how many frenzied there are. But a car is an option, especially when it comes to Eryn's leg, of having a barrier, getting through places quickly. That could bring many other problems, but cars are an option. You assume there's a fire escape in this building somewhere. You have not seen any from like the 2 apartment buildings that you're in. The window does not lead to a fire escape, so you would assume it's like at the end of the hall or something. If you wanted to get down into an alleyway, like Elle said. With previous conversation, you know they can definitely hear you. You're pretty sure they can see you, and you're uncertain about the smell. And you're pretty confident that you're safe from the scaling creature, as it seemed to not want to be near the sun. So, you know you have a few blocks to traverse to get to the location of this church. And I feel like while those ideas are kind of coming to Eryn and Dakota, I think Elle actually maybe was the one to kind of turn their phone back on, to be like, oh yeah, maps, and then be like,
Yep.
Fuck, that's not gonna work. And you're seeing that no signal spot up at the top and kind of clicking into your text messages, and there was no reply, but you just find yourself kind of scrolling.
Yeah. I think I try to like turn the Wi-Fi off and on and be like, that's stupid. That doesn't do anything. And then I open the map to just see if anything pops up, and it's just a little blue dot in a gray background. And then I just kind of like pinch it out and like try and zoom out and then zoom back. Nothing's changing.
And Eryn starts like thinking and like comes to the realization, like they look over at Elle and Dakota and they're like, I'm literally just gonna slow you down if
No.
we walk.
Nope.
Well,
Okay.
if we walk, then we won't walk. We'll drive.
We'll try.
We'll drive.
We'll drive.
We'll drive.
Can anyone hotwire a car?
It's not a skill I'm proud of, but I have been known to
Go on.
have maybe hotwired a car once or twice.
That's great.
Okay.
Dakota
Incredible.
says, confused why
Finally!
she just said that's great.
We can get you to a car.
How much time do you need to hotwire it?
I'm rusty. Very rusty. Like more convincing them than herself. But maybe 5 minutes. 10 tops. If I, how complicated. 5 minutes. I can't
Okay.
drive it though. So I mean I can, but other leg, little
Right.
awkward. So I can totally do the hot wiring.
No, this is great. So we'll create a distraction. We did a distraction before. We'll distract them, get them away from us, and we just need that time for you to hotwire it, and then we're out of here.
So what if we tie my foot to a Molotov cocktail and throw it in the opposite direction of the car we're trying to hotwire?
That is literally exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, but to be fair, me saying it about my own foot probably, yeah.
I was trying to think of a tactful way to say it. I couldn't think of any, so I wasn't really going to say it. I was just kind of going to do it.
Okay, no, I like that. Okay, so
Sorry.
plan. No, it's okay. I am down to sacrifice. I mean, I don't need it anyway, right? We're not taping it back on or anything. So I feel like the smell of burning flesh from the explosion we hopefully get will distract them enough, maybe?
Yeah. What if... Do you want to try and sneak over there first, and then if they start to realize, then we do the distraction? Or should we go distraction from the beginning?
I think we need to hedge our bets. It worked last time.
That's true.
Until it didn't.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it worked.
Okay.
When we were
Well-
dropping chairs on cars.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What if we find a car and then we have one of us throw as a distraction in the other direction and keep like, oh, Ella's working this out in her mind as she goes, okay, so what if I go up on the next floor and I start chucking Molotov cocktails and the one with the foot attached? And in the opposite direction, you guys get the car so that way they can't get up to me where I am. And you guys can get the car ready and then I'll just run down. Is that stupid?
No, I think that works. As long as you're directing them far enough away from this building. That would work. We just need a car that's one of those I'm compensating for something cars. You know, like a big car that just has, you know, big tires and
No, we are in Chicago. That shouldn't be hard to find.
A
Yeah.
tiny penis car, yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
My husband has like 3 of them.
That explains so much.
Yeah, that really actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need anything to hotwire the car or just your ingenuity?
No, it should be pretty straightforward. Maybe. We'll see.
Impressive. Where did you learn to do that?
YouTube. So.
She immediately thinks of Claire and how much time Claire spends watching YouTube and just like worries. She just has like a general anxiety.
Amazing. And then we hard cut to the camera in darkness, and then the freezer door opens and you're looking in at the leg that is in the freezer. You reach in and grab it. Elle, what would you like to roll for this distraction? Are you rolling like a throw? While you're thinking about that, Dakota, you're going to be rolling a general stealth roll. Since you succeeded your composure, you're going to roll with advantage. Eryn, what do you roll for hot wiring? Let's see here. You know what? Since you've said you've done this before, we're giving this a 50-50 chance that you're just able to do this again. Elle, what are you rolling?
I'm rolling throw.
Great. Straight roll. Everyone roll and tell me what you get.
I got a 27.
I got a 27.
Aww.
I feel like Eryn and Dakota are like Charlie's Angels. Like we're like back to back here.
Okay, it's a 42 and my throw is 39, so I'll use 3 composure points to kick it down.
Fantastic.
I went
another
up a couple
floor?
floors just so
Okay.
I could get more like distance and like an eye on where they're going.
Yeah. there is this moment where you're up there, you've opened this window, you're getting ready, and you're looking over at the things that you're going to throw. Maybe a couple Molotovs and a fucking leg.
Yep.
And there's this moment where you're like, I am throwing a leg out of a window. And
A leg that I helped cut off.
Yeah. There's just this surreal moment in looking at the leg too, like it is broken in multiple places, in like swollen and blue and black, and there's a moment where you wouldn't believe it was real if it didn't happen, like just 24 hours of your life.
A small part of them reaches for a bone fragment and then is like, no, that's weird, don't do that.
And then you begin chucking things out of this window.
I have an order in which I would like to chuck them.
Sure.
I want to hoot and throw the leg first so that there is a gathering of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say hoot?
Yeah, just like, whoo! Just so like
some
there
noise.
is the noise component and the like slapping of flesh on
Yep.
frozen flesh. Or I guess thawing flesh now.
Yeah,
because,
thawing, yeah.
And then once they've all gathered, I'm basically using it as a brick.
Yeah.
So I can throw a Molotov on a group.
Perfect. Yeah, you do so. You throw the leg out, you hear it kind of like splat, and you hear like the snapping of the infected's heads as they turn to look in that direction, and as they begin swarming, that gains attention of more, and you just see like a river, them flowing into the area where this has fallen, and you light the Molotovs and you begin throwing them out. You see the bottles break and the fire spread and just begin burning, and the noises are just bringing in even more, and you're just watching for a moment like, holy shit, I can't believe that worked. Meanwhile, Dakota and Eryn, probably like arm over shoulder is probably the quickest way to do this. You're probably not going to be able to get that chair in the car. So heading down, you manage to find a vehicle that it seems like it'll be easy to drive out of the spot that it's in. Kind of like just the first simple one that you see, you rush over, wrench open the car door, and basically like fling Eryn into the passenger side so that Eryn can get started on whatever she needs to do here. As Dakota then runs around to the other side, climbs in, shuts the door, you see Frenzied spilling into the place on the other side, where you can hear the snarling as these Frenzied are being just lit on fire. And Dakota, you're looking out at all of the Frenzied, and then you look down to ask Eryn if they're almost done, and you hear just as we are currently like basically starting this car. And working together, you're able to get this car started. You're amazed. You missed how she did it, really, because you were looking out the window and it happened so fast. Car is started, and now you're just waiting for Elle. And there's a moment where you feel like a century has passed before you finally see Elle rush out of the building, eyes darting, looking around. You kind of like, flag Elle down, runs over, climbs into the back seat. As soon as that car door shuts, you begin to drive. And you begin heading in the direction of this church. And then we are going to cut to arriving at the church. We did it. Car pulls up to the church. You get out. You see the church doors open. You walk in. You see blood-stained floors. You see all of the benches seem to have been pushed up against the doors, but have since been burst inward. You see blood-stained walls. You see a priest sitting up, dead. against the wall on the other side. And there's a moment of loss and fear. This was supposed to be safe. From what you could understand, the church was supposed to be safe. You head up the stairs, and you see a desk, multiple papers. It looks like there was some sort of fight in here at one point. Stuff is flipped over everywhere. But the papers catch your eye, and they tell you where to go from here.